Hey guys, this is Anthony Romerell, and in this video we're going to talk about colliders, triggers, rigid bodies, and all sorts of other things related to that. So I've got my little character here, and if I push play, I've got a little trigger on the top that if I run into, that this falls down. So let's build that out. Let's talk about this for just a minute. So right here I've got this little platform and this box. I'm going to double click and zoom in on it. So let's just have a look at what we have. So I have a couple of colliders. So this first collider, you can see turn off and on right here. I've got a box collider. That's just a standard box collider. And I've made it a little smaller so it squeezes inside of the artwork. That's one thing to be careful of. So I have this at size of 0.19 and 0.19 and 0.19. Okay. And that's important because we're going to do something, and if that collider is just a little bit bigger, it will react on its own. And then I've added one more box collider. So select that one, and you can see if I turn it on and off, you can see it highlighting on the top. So that has an is trigger turned on. Okay. And then I've added a rigid body. And I did that just by right-clicking down here and adding component rigid body. I also did that by adding that other box collider. So with that rigid body, I'm sleeping it. Okay. So what's happening is when I run into it, this character controller, you could see just a little bit goes into it, and then as soon as it hits that teeny little box, it activates that rigid body. Okay, so let's just make a new one here. Okay, so I'm gonna take this one and let's just do this whole thing. And I've got a box collider. I've scaled it properly. The box collider settings. I'm going to add a component. Just add another box collider, not 2D. I'm going to turn on is trigger, and I'm just going to go into the Y settings and bring it up just a tad and shrink it down so it's a little smaller. Okay, like it's a little box appearing just above it. So new box collider, added is trigger, and raised it up in Y and shrunk it down just a little bit. Okay. Okay, so now the next thing I need to do is add a rigid body to it. So let's just say, start typing rigid body. So there it is. And when I push play, this thing's going to activate itself and fall to the ground. Okay, it's not going to wait for me. So I want to do something special to it. But to do that, I'm going to need to add a script that I've made. So I've got this little script. We're going to click, right-click, add component. And we're going to type in the word simple. And we're going to look down until we see the word simple trigger event behavior. Simple trigger event behavior. We're going to click on that. And we have an awake event and a trigger event. So on this awake event, I'm going to hit this plus button, and I'm going to drag this box to it. And then I'm going to click on a function, and I'm going to say rigid body, and we're going to say sleep. So we're going to push play now, and what's happening is on awake, this little simple trigger event script is sleeping this rigid body. Okay. On this other one here, it has that exact same script. So this trigger events behavior, it has box 0, that's its box, rigid body.sleep. Then I have a trigger enter event, and it says it has a box and then rigid body.wake up. So let's do that same thing with this box 1. So I'm going to hit this trigger event, hit the plus button. I'm going to drag itself to it, so box 1, and I'm going to say rigid body wake up. So all that's doing is when I run into this one, it's going to wake it up. So let's hit play, and my character is activated. I'm going to run them across, and you can see I've added the rigid bodies. Okay, now we had a little bit of an issue. This rigid body fell through. So let's just check to see what that's all about. Okay, so right here, this particular one is fine. This particular one looks fine. I'm going to push play one more time and see if I can see any strange thing. Jump back up, trigger this one. Yep, and it's falling right through. Okay, so sometimes rigid bodies, they don't interact quite properly. And, not quite sure why. I'm just going to look at this box collider. Oh, okay, I'm going to take a look at this and come right back. Okay, I found a solution, and that is just on this box collider. What I'm going to do is on this trigger event, I'm going to hit this plus button. I'm going to drag itself, box 1, to it, and then I'm just going to add down here. I'm just going to say Unity engine.box collider, and bool is trigger. We're just going to keep that off. Never seen this happen before. It's a little fix. Maybe you don't. Hopefully you don't have to fix it and worry about it. But I thought I'd at least show it. Let's just give it a little test. And there it goes. Behaves just like the other one. And so you can see that we can use colliders, rigid bodies, and triggers to perform some operations. Now let's do one more, kind of an interesting one. So I've got this little wheel right here, and it has a simple events trigger on it. And what I'm going to add to this is I'm going to hit this plus button, and I'm going to add a particle system. So I'm going to hit add component. I'm just going to type in particle system, and it starts to emit right away. And I'm just going to go, let's just go to our emission rates right here and just turn that off. Okay. And also let's just say our size should just be a start size right here is 1. Let's put this down to like 0.1. Okay. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to drag this particle system right up here to this trigger event on this item. Oh, my little particle window got in the way. But on this little spiky ball right here, it has particles that aren't running. And again, so what I have is this this simple trigger events behavior I've added to it. I've added a box collider to it and a is trigger to it. And what I'm going to do is on this particle system, I'm going to say function, particle system, and emit. Okay, and I'm just going to put a number of 10. And let's just let's take this out of 2D mode and push play. And I'll just run my character over. You can see the rigid bodies behave, and should be able to jump on that spiky ball, and there it is. Little particles emit from it. Okay, so those are just some examples of how to use triggers. We're going to do more complicated things as we move along in the program or in the class. So what I need you to do is just make sure you go through each item and clean it up. Make sure all of your little rigid bodies, all your box colliders are nice and tight and don't interact with each other. And then make sure if you add anything else, like a trigger, that it says is trigger, and you could use this simple trigger event behavior to run some kind of interesting things. So that's all for this, and good luck, and try to use some imagination.